episode of 2025. How you doing, fellas?
Second one.
Oh yeah, you're right.
We had the New Year's.
Our first live one. Our first live one. Here we
Yeah,
go.
we had the New Year's.
All right, guys. Let me go ahead and kick it off with our quick intro here. All right. Let's see.
Hey, GBP roast, GBP roast. Sorry, you in danger. Right now, I gotta flame you. This is GBP roast, GBP roast. On your Google business profile, it's about to go down. We roasting and reacting. We ain't come to play. 20 years in SEO. JP, Lambo, and Dre, bringing facts and guests. Oh yeah, we bring the dopeness. Welcome to the show. Hope your profile don't get roasted.
Oh yeah. Well,
What's up, everybody?
What's up? What's up? Happy. Well, again, welcome again. Second episode of the year. Happy New Year. If I haven't said it to you already.
Woo!
But yes. Okay, so as you know, we do get some questions that are submitted to us, and we actually wanted to bring up one question. And anyone out there, if you have any questions, please email gbproast@gmail.com, gbproast@gmail.com, if you want to get a question answered. So our first question today was, I sent a graphic to you guys on, have you ever had it when Google did not have any way to finish a map verification? He got this message where it says no more ways to verify after he changed his address. So any thoughts on this?
The only thing I can think of is they were wanting him to prompt him to do possibly a video, and maybe that didn't work. There is a trick that you can do, which I'll cover here in a second, about how to properly change your address and how to go about it, so that actually helps mitigate that risk. But I've never actually seen that error. But the best guess I can say is they probably prompted some type of re-verification, usually probably through a video. They don't send postcards anymore. So that's probably my guess, is that got exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, what you can do is you can try to add another manager email to the account and see if something will prompt that way. And also check to see if the listing is still verified. It sounds like it's probably unverified as well. So take a look at in your account. The best way to look at your actual status is if you actually go to google.com/local/manage, and it gives you the prompts of like all the locations that you have. You probably have one, but it's just a little bit easier to actually see what the possible error is.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, contact support. Something went haywire there.
Yeah, and there's a link too. I think there was a link to actually contact support, so that's definitely I would reach out. Maybe check in the forums. Maybe someone's having the same issue. Maybe they were able to. Maybe it was an easy fix. It could be a browser thing. There's a lot of, just small little glitches that Google has sometimes.
Got it. Okay, love that. Okay, let's get right into our first reaction video. Let me play this right here.
This is either a great way to get banned on Google or the most amazing local SEO hack there is. This guy recommends whenever you go to your business using the driving directions feature on Google Maps to go to it. Then also telling your friends to do it. This tells Google your business is in demand because people are actually going there. But he takes it a step further. He says, I know a guy who provides a service where you pay them and they will drive to your location along with their 100 plus phones all doing driving directions. This is a little extreme, but there is a reason they are doing this and providing the service. It works. It shows Google that the location is worth noting, so to speak, as people are driving to the location. This is completely playing with fire though. You're either going to set a tremendous blaze or burn down the house.
I'm curious, guys. Again, this is another play on driving directions. We saw another video a few weeks ago, but I'm curious, what is your take on
I shared it during the tech day a couple of weeks ago, some things that you can do with driving directions, like putting the link on your website. I would rather personally get driving directions coming from multiple locations around the area rather than 100 phones swarming in at the one location. To me now, however, if it's something where like it's a party bus and they're going to a nightclub or something like that, and everyone, that could be something that could be kind of useful. But again, you're getting all these phone locations all swarming in they're coming from one spot, all going to the same spot. I mean, the likelihood of that happening anywhere is probably not going to happen.
Well, and then I'm going to have a traffic jam and I'm not going to be able to go down Main Street because it's going to be all in red because there's going to be 100 cars on Main Street. Right?
So, and that can also cause problems too for the business owner, because if you guys also saw on the last show, I actually showed where it actually says in the actual business listing that these are high traffic areas, times like, between 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock is when there's the most traffic and most insights. If you're getting all of this business coming in, someone probably doesn't even want to show up to a local shop when it's super, super busy. So they're going to look at some times where they can show up a little bit later. So it's probably not going to be advantageous for you to actually do it in the long run.
So if someone were to use that service, I mean, you'd probably like at least like kind of tone it down, maybe like 20, 10, and then do another 10, 20.
I would focus on getting the purpose of this is why they're doing this is to get engagement, and it does help you with rankings. But the best thing that you can do is to expand proximity. I live in the Bay Area. I'd rather get, people driving from the south side, the north side, the east side, the west side. I don't want everyone coming from the west side. So if I can tell people, do driving directions, but I want you guys coming in from like all angles, that's the best way to do it.
Got it.
Yeah, like again, real genuine signal. And this is the other reality. Is it an in-market person? Meaning, is there any sort of cache memory where they searched? Did they go to competitors? Have they been to the paint store, to the home store? Is there other search related data that Google can say, oh, you know what? We trust you more than 100 random cell phones that drive down Main Street.
Got it. Great tips there, guys. Okay, let's go into reaction number 2.
But I can tell you, just a pound of effort locally is worth 10 pounds of effort globally. And I have seen just a spike in my online relativity, in my online search. I'm being found all over the world now, even easier, simply because I was strategic in my local SEO. And so it just focus real narrow, a narrow niche, a narrow area, and what it will do, it will help you, believe it or not, globally. Even though, I might be over here focused on mindset and coaching in a specific region, I'm being found globally for coaching, not only in mindset, but maybe in the mechanics of business and other things, and in marketing. So one feeds the other.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that sounds like a bunch of coaching bullshit to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see that happening. I really don't see that happening myself.
No, unless it's you have this magical pay it forward, scenario. You guys all saw that movie Pay It Forward, where they tell 3 people, and then they tell 3 people, and then the likelihood of that going globally is probably not gonna fucking happen. So
now, a couple years ago, Bill Hartzer talked about when he removed his Google My Business on his e-commerce customer, the e-commerce rankings went up. And so there was thought at the time that, well, maybe Google is putting in some type of attenuation of saying, hey, you're really a local business, and so we're not going to rank you in that.
But on the flip side, I've done national rankings for a local business, and we target their main keyword for a super, super competitive term where the volume wasn't necessarily that much, but getting 1 to even 5 calls and closing those, it was like $150,000 per. So you got to think about, on the flip side, you can rank for a national term using a Google business listing. I've seen a lot of people do this with like affiliate and things like that. So you can expand that. Now, if your name was like health coach, for example, going back to what he talks about, if let's say his business name was online health coach. Now, if you nail that brand and that entity, it's going to show up in the knowledge panel. It's going to show up saying, eventually when you get the branding done, that's a huge major term. It's going to show your Google business. eventually, so in that aspects, that could happen globally, but again, you're branding a specific what your main target term would be.
And since, Hartzer talked about that 3-4 years ago, I think Google has gotten smarter to really determine, are you a local entity or not, right? Because there's many e-commerce people who work out of their house. They'd like to get reviews, but Google's not going to verify them, right? And with that, I think that Google's certainly has improved the accuracy, to a point, but yeah, that's what that coaching guy was saying was a little.
Yeah. It'd be awesome.
So-
It'd be awesome if that was true, but it's not going to happen.
So, JP, with your use case, was it just like a one location, one office?
It was one location. He was in New York City, and we targeted, like, we changed some of the branding. He actually had 2 locations, but we wanted to target this main keyword, and we rebranded his business for that keyword, and it was targeting, nationally. So in that example, it actually showed it basically shows a 1-pack, which looks like a knowledge panel on the right-hand side. It shows that business listing, has that main keyword and everything. It's all branded, and everything on the first page, I would say maybe at least 8 out of the 10 results were all him, through like citations, his branding properties, social things like that. So it works, but you have to be very specific on what you're doing. Like, you're never going to be, plumber, because there's already a knowledge panel. That's already kind of known as an entity with Google, plumber. No one's going to name their company plumber. Another example, locksmith. Locksmith there's actually a rapper named Locksmith, and then there's actually the service of locksmith. So again, it really goes hand in hand. You have to be really diligent and careful also on how you're doing your branding. That's a big thing. Me and Keith, that's what we teach. It's all about branding and branding and branding. So it can be done. It's going to take a lot of work.
Love it. Okay, here's our last video to react to. All right.
How do you do a competitor check for local SEO? Is you Google the target keyword, you find position 1's name, and then you put it in brackets and you Google that. Here's what it's going to show. Coast Therapy, East Vancouver. And then what you want to check is click Tools, 822 results. And then what you want to do is, if you want to take a step further, you just take the phone number, also put it in quotations, 362 results. So that just means roughly, because what is a citation, right? It's name, address, phone number. So what you want to do is search all 3 of those for results. So not that many. That's it. You typically want to check the address, phone number, and name.
So I'm curious with like the certain research style. Is this something that you guys do, or thoughts on research?
I don't focus on NAP. NAP is a thing in the past. It hasn't been a thing in probably almost 10 years. I would say probably one of the most important things is getting the business name and your branding and your website, and definitely, your address is definitely important, especially think of a citation as a way to validate who you are. It's not necessarily it's going to help you like get these magical rankings like it used to in past time, but it's definitely going to help you validate. A phone number is going to be important, especially if some reason you get a new phone provider. It does happen every couple of years for a business, and some reason you can't port it, whatever the reason is, it can be important to help, if you do need to change the phone number at some point. So using citations to validate your brand is probably the most important thing to look at it, but don't be focusing on, I need to get like 300, citations, and I need to make sure that my phone number is showing correctly, the address is in the exact format. Google's pretty smart. They know what the address format is, so it doesn't have to be exact.
And those kinds of things, you're like, oh wow, I can go find all this data, find all this information, and get into a rabbit hole. But
yeah, but what are you gonna do with it?
Right? Well, you really only need 20 good quality ones. Make sure they're indexed and make it easy.
Got it. All right. So today, instead of going to our regular segments of our tech stack and our CRO tips on today, we want to go and cover what's the elephant in the room of this week, that there was a local SEO Google ranking updates. And I know, JP, you actually posted something on Facebook. We got a lot of a lot of
Mhm.
responses, a lot of actions. I wanted to go ahead and pull up this article here and just kind of like maybe and please go through. But while
Yeah.
I do that, can you go ahead and kind of give a kind of brief overview of what people are seeing recently or what you're seeing?
Yeah, so actually a lot of the things I've been reporting, a lot has to do with like reviews not showing up or reviews that don't necessarily even have that many, are all over the place. I'm seeing things a little bit differently. Um, a lot of times when Google does these kind of large updates where it looks like rankings are shifting literally all over the place. Usually in the past, it's been something that has to do, they're trying to battle the business name relevance. So they're trying to battle against people using like keywords in their business name. So that's one thing. Another thing too is they're testing proximity points. They want to see how far, consumers are willing to drive to a dentist in their area or certain categories. So especially in home services, it doesn't really matter because consumers aren't driving to a location to get their drain cleaning done, right? The plumber's coming out to their location, so you're going to see different shifts depending on the category. But those are the two main things that I look at, and what I'm actually seeing is that business name relevance are trying to battle against that. So you're going to see some things where it looks like exact match are like dominating right now. You may even see that, even just the first 10 results, there's a lot of just keywords in the business names. And then second is that proximity where a lot of businesses are showing up. It looks like they're really far away. So those are the main two things. The article does share some things that I thought there was actually a couple. Let me go down here.
Let's see.
Lots
Yeah.
of complaints.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
so
a lot
many
of
people get their panties in a bunch, right? Where I know if you're an amateur SEO, you probably, and even as a small business owner, right? You're investing some money, you're working, adding words to your page, doing all the things we talk about, and you're probably checking your rankings every day, right? And then the sky is falling, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, what the hell happened?
But if you look at a lot of these too, they're like, man, I was ranking in the top 3. Now I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm completely off the grid. So they're gonna look at the results, saying, okay, so oh gosh, I have too many reviews, or these guys are using keywords in the business name. I need to go in and put some keywords in my business name. Don't do anything. Don't touch it. There's also a huge update that happened. I don't know if this necessarily has anything to do with it. It could, but in the European Union, all Europe, they basically Google Maps like vanished. So I don't know if that's necessarily anything that has to do with this, but I mean, there could be a lot of kind of internal. I mean, we have so many like things that are happening in within U.S. government right now. Everything like TikTok's about to go away, and Google's trying to get people are trying to break up. People are trying to break up Google or Alphabet, whatever they go by. So, I mean, I don't foresee this actually being a permanent thing. I think that things are going to start to revert back over the next couple of days. You're going to see things kind of come back to normal. But again, the biggest thing is, like I said, is they're trying to battle relevancy, and they're trying to do that in those business names.
And I'm also saying, just reading through some of these comments, it's like they're saying it could be just a bug that's going on. Like
Yeah, that's what I mean. A lot of times too, I mean, they're updating Google Maps literally every weekend. So they're adding, removing features, testing, relevancy, proximity. There's so many things that are happening. That's why I tell people too, usually like Friday afternoons, like don't touch your GMB, don't do any posts, don't schedule anything on Fridays, don't make any major edits on the weekends, because those are times when they're doing some of these crazy updates. And that's about the time when this came out, was over the weekend. So
got it. We have Brian in the live chat. What's up, Brian? We also have Pablo's out here. So let's see what he says here. Showing if a restaurant has multiple stores, does it necessarily have to have a location page? Is the URL structure a factor?
I definitely would, because especially if in a different city, you definitely want to. It's going to be a little bit tricky. Sometimes you get a huge market like Chicago, you may have the same restaurant. It's pretty common. they have like a north and south, so that
But
could be
the
something
neighborhood, right?
yeah, the
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Oh,
So
exactly.
you could maybe add a neighborhood to the URL structure, but it's just still says Chicago. But definitely, if it's in a completely different city within the metro, absolutely, you want to have its own
Consider
page.
too, like Chicago-Main Street,
Yeah,
because people they'll know what street they're on, so they'll search it that way, and so that'll help. Or or near a major landmark or something.
yeah.
got it. Got it. So right now, so like with all this stuff going on with this whole Google local algorithm update or even bug, so you would suggest for people not to even touch their sites
Don't even
for a
touch
couple
it. Don't
weeks?
even touch your GMBs. I wouldn't even do posts. Like don't even respond. I mean, log in and just at least have some activity, but don't respond to reviews. Don't.
Have
There's a lot.
have a
If it is
drink
a
or
bug,
two,
if it is a bug,
maybe
things are
take a
gonna break.
little, to take a sedative, take a nap, okay?
Yeah.
Keep blogging, keep doing all the things you do, but don't go in and start modifying your
Yeah.
major on-page elements, right? Don't mess with the title, don't mess with the headings, just let's see how the dust settles. Most everything I've seen, there was a jumping of spikes for 2 days, but it seems to be settling, at least on my local server.
I mean, I'm seeing like other people are reporting like losses. Have you guys, with your clients, have been seeing any gains? With this particular?
Not gains. Well, I take that back. So it was a loss and then it was like a gain. So actually, I have one client we were actually ranking 2 brands in his area, and when this update came out, or whatever is going on, whatever you want to call it, I don't know if it's even an update, but when it first
Happy
came
New
out,
Year update.
everything dropped out. And then over the last 2 days, I just actually looked yesterday. I sent him a screenshot. Both of his brands, for like 2 of his main keywords, are the only 2 brands showing up for like on the first page. So it's kind of interesting to see kind of what is happening, but to me, from what it looks like, they're really trying to battle against these keyword brands. So that's what I'm seeing it. But it looks like things are kind of starting to roll back and revert back, hopefully in a positive way.
Keep in mind, everyone out there listening, every time you mess with the algorithm, meaning links, okay, if you get extra traffic to your site, or if you mess with the actual words, the on-page area, you are disrupting the algorithm. So you are always going to have to give it 10 days, maybe 2 weeks for the dust to settle.
Yeah.
Got it. We have Dan in the audience saying most of he's been seeing are bouncing back as well. So it's, again, it could just be a bug that's going on out there. All right. So, I mean, is any other like comments on this latest update before we go into kind of our roasting?
No, I think the biggest thing is when things like this happen, we don't go into panic mode and feel like you need to start making a bunch of changes. Just unfortunately, it's kind of a waiting game. You have to just sit back and see what happens.
Got it. All right. So we have our very first. Did you want to take this one, JP? Since you're in the Bay Area.
Yeah, we can do that one. Let me pull it up. All right, so this one looks like it's another marketing firm. Pull it up. Share my screen. All right, so it looks like this is the one that was submitted. James Jordan Marketing. He's in Oakland.
No relation to JP.
No relation to me at all. I mean, someone is more than willing to roast my stuff too. So, but get Momentify. I would never first thing, don't use any like third-party schedulers. It's if you can do a scheduler directly on your site. This isn't necessarily like a ranking problem. It's more of an internal issue where a lot of times, especially you'll see in restaurants, like these third-party ordering apps, like get Grubhub, things like that. Don't use any of those companies because a lot of times they put ads on your listing, shows other results. So don't do that. You need to put a schedule in there, and you can easily embed this on your site. What was his? I think it was for Oakland. Was it Oakland SEO?
Oakland SEO consultant.
So he's ranking number 4. There's not really a ton of results in Oakland.
Oh, look at that. Who's number 1?
Oh, looks like you're number 1.
Maps is where it's at, right? It's you want to get the calls, you want to get the clicks, it's in Maps. You got to be in the 3-pack for sure.
So he's at 1, 2. He's at 1, 2,
like 4, no 5, like 5 or 6.
6, yeah.
Look at his site. Reviews. I mean, he's got 1 review. I mean, let's see. I want to see how long he's been doing SEO. First of all, if it has anything like he's been doing this since. So he says supposedly 2006. He has 1 review and he's been doing this since 2006.
Yeah, that's a huge red flag.
That's a red flag. Sorry.
Huge red flag.
Okay.
You're better off, James, to just say that you've just recently started. I mean, I know that your business can be new, but your experience on a resume, right, can be much longer. But that is a huge red flag.
And you have a short form short code on here, and it's not even fucking done. So I would never take someone like this seriously. If you're a business owner watching this, I would never work with this person. I would never take someone seriously who doesn't honestly have anything when it regards to businesses. If he's here in Oakland, I'm assuming if you're a local agency owner, you're probably working with local businesses in your local area first before you start expanding out. Always do that. Even if you're brand new, you want to start an agency, start in your local market, be the best in your area, then you're ready to start growing out. This website also looks like it was made like my grandpa could make this. It's to me, it's all about branding and building a personal brand for anything. It doesn't matter if you're a plumber or you're a marketing agency. But yeah, that review thing is a big thing with me. And then I highly, I don't know what this. Look, it's wheelchair accessible. I mean, some of these attributes too, you don't necessarily. It's not a super important thing too. So if you guys are like, oh, I need to add that we're African American owned, wheelchair accessible. I mean, it may be somewhat helpful, but I mean, it's not like.
I don't know if you looked at the street view, I don't think it's wheelchair accessible. And again, sadly, people are just going to judge you, by the cover. If you don't have a legit office, if it's not in the front of a building, you might be better off just not publishing an address at all initially. James, for you to get customers, you're just gonna have to door knock, call, stop in, sell yourself, because any small business owner who comes to you, they bounce. They're leaving.
Yeah, you tell me you've done this since 2006 and you have no organic traffic and 43 backlinks. Like, come on, dude. No one's gonna take you seriously. I've owned SEO agencies in the past. We rank for everything locally. We practice what we preach. It doesn't bring in all the leads, but that's not the fucking point. The point is to practice what you preach. So if you're an agency, you should at the very least be ranking in your main city. At the very least.
And
look at Dre. Dre is here in the Bay Area. He's literally here in the Bay Area. Has 14 reviews. Is an actual consultant, and is ranking number 1 for Oakland SEO consultant.
And you don't need 7 H1s and,
And
24 H5s on your homepage.
And people in Oakland are probably not searching for SEO consultant. They
No.
just aren't. And he's probably not getting a lot of leads, but at least he could say, you know what? I'm located in Oakland and this is what I do. I can help you. I'm ranking for myself. I can do it for you too. Like, that's how you have to think when you're an agency owner. You're probably not going to get leads. That's not the point. If you're a Facebook ads agency and I don't see your Facebook ads manager going and you don't have ads consistently going, I'm never going to work with you.
Do you know that on his homepage, all of his paragraphs of text are actually H5s?
Is it the same?
Headings.
It looks like it's the same.
This is terrible.
And then these buttons don't work. Nothing. I mean, this is just for the slider. Don't put sliders. No one checks that. It's dumb.
So wait, you said H5s is not. I mean, that's a bad thing when they're all.
What I'm
H5s?
saying is, you do not need a 65 character heading or 30 word paragraph as an H5. It's a heading. It's, you code it as a P, as a paragraph.
And these are all fucking templated. These aren't real clients. This is a template.
Are they?
Yeah, this is a template. Paris, Milan, Sydney. You're telling me you're working with Brian Smith, and no, you're not.
All right, we got to move on.
We gotta move on.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, the next one. Who's gonna bring up the next one here? We have
Is it? I think
if you're already on there connected, just keep going, Jordan. With
you want me to keep going?
With the your pest guy.
Oh, your pest guy. A&R Pest Solutions.
I'm gonna take the torch here and I'm gonna go burn that website down there a second. It's really bad.
All right, so this one is actually located. So we do pest control, Vancouver, Washington. You guys can all see my screen.
Yeah.
All right, so this one was A&R Pest Solutions. So one thing I want to tell you about Vancouver, it's a pretty small market. It's not a huge population. It's maybe 175,000 people within the actual Vancouver area, maybe 300,000 to 400,000 kind of within the metro. It's not a huge market. Now, a lot of these businesses, again, this could be because of some of the updates happening. It doesn't look like it based on from what I'm seeing, but there's a ton of reviews. These guys, look how many reviews these guys have. 2,100, 2,700, 3,000, 4,200, 1,900. You can't tell me that reviews are not a ranking factor. When it comes to, I'm not saying like you need to go get 10,000 reviews. That's going to be impossible, but I mean, it's definitely going to be something impactful. I look at the number of reviews, meaning that's how many people engage with your business, right? So that just means that they had more actions on the Google business than some of these other guys. The very first thing that I looked at on here, I just wanted to see what their website looked like. This is like one of the worst things you can ever have happen. So the DNS is not propagating. So I haven't done anything actual like technical text or anything like that. I don't know where it's actually pointing to, but it's not going to Cloudflare, not propagating. So they're losing out on a lot of potential business. One thing that I did like about let me actually go, the branding is pretty okay. They're on Yelp. They're on some of these additional sites. Like this is just a general pest control, looks like a review site. I have another one here called Pest Control Reviews. This is a huge one. If you can get your DMB Bradstreet number and get a profile, that's a really big opportunity. Also, to a little side bit, I know that we talk about Google Business here, but one of the requirements to actually get on Apple Maps, you can either get on Yelp or actually have a DMB number. So that's just a little tidbit of advice.
Yeah, baby.
So if you're actually listed already officially on those sites, you can automatically get a Google.
Yeah, you can get so usually Yelp will push to Apple Maps. Otherwise, you can actually create your account on Apple Maps Connect.
Apple Maps.
And then you can actually just give them your DMB number and they'll verify it for you, usually within a week. So the biggest thing that I saw here is a lot of these guys, again, it's a lot of the reviews. Some of these guys, one of them has keywords in the name. Again, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, but at the very least, you want to have pest control at least in the business name. That's one of the biggest consistent things that I see here. Pest control, pest control, pest control. These ones have pest solutions, but they have a 10 reviews. They're a little bit closer to the centroid. Pest control Vancouver, pest management. This could be a company that they might have been around a long time, who knows. But again, pest solutions, it may be advantageous for you at some point to at least have pest control in the business name. Not to make it or break it, but definitely going to need some more engagement here. You can do a lot of things getting engagement through some paid ads. If you've only served 67 customers since you've been in business, that's not very much as a pest control company. A lot of times this particular category, this type of business, are going out and getting accounts. So they have salespeople on the floor knocking doors, getting accounts. That's an opportunity if you have 500 accounts that you're serving monthly pest control services for. There's no reasons why you can't be sending things out in in the mail, saying, hey, just let us, if you could please leave us a review, let us know how our last service was, or some type of text message marketing. There's no reasons why you can't be increasing these. And then the next thing moving into is going to be your website, and your website's not even live yet. So, or there's a problem with it. So those are the main things that I see. There's definitely a lot of work. It looks like there's some other things in here. They put handyman in here, just some other random categories. Animal control service. A lot of times they'll put animal control service if you're a pest control, especially if you do like wildlife removal. So if they're doing like raccoon removal, bat, things like that, that may be a reason why they added animal control service in there. So that's all I have for this one. If you guys want to add anything.
No, you pretty much covered it.
Okay.
All right. And we have one last one before we go. We have a Eli Heating and Cooling. Is that?
You got that one pulled up, Keith?
Yeah, I'll pull up there. So this was a Thrive site, THRYV. I just stumbled onto it by accident. They do HVAC. If we take a look at the homepage itself, you've oh my gosh, you see something like this, schedule now, right? And you're like, well, schedule what, right? This is good. This can be good. But the other reality too is this is just not the most glamorous hero photo on a homepage, right? And I'm even having trouble with this logo, right? It's just not obvious what I can do here and what is the exact name of the company, right? It's very common, in these more generic website templates to just sort of have this glamorous About Us page, right? This is all very much stock photography. This is great. We can assume this is, a couple brothers or, friends in business. If we go over to the About Us page, will we get more details? No, we don't. Oh, but we get this glamorous basement that's under construction, right? It's things that, if you've got coupons and rebates, right, any kind of savings, that's what you're going to want to promote quickly. And if you don't even have them, then why list them, right? You don't want to disappoint people. From a CRO point of view, the colors are fine. Lots of things going on here, but the overall online experience and trying to elevate a professionalism is low. Now, the reality is we are out in Southwest Pennsylvania, and the immediate city of Waynesburg, I think is probably like 3,500 people. And Greene County itself has a population of 34,000. So one of the things you have to look at is you do well, searching for furnace repair, right in the 3-pack in your backyard, which is nice. You got 41 reviews. They mention, Dylan, the owner, by name. That's great. You can see it's very personable. There are no photos, right? This is just a small business that is really kind of behind. And some of these larger HVAC guys could push him out of the 3-pack. So you need to kind of keep up with the Joneses. There's no access that I can see into any social media reach. This is interesting. Hey Dre, you tell me, what do you think is more impressive, this or this?
That Facebook.
Exactly right.
So
your Facebook page is more impressive than your website, right? Mm-hmm. That's good. You certainly have followers, you have likes, and a small HVAC company like this, when they want to expand and get out in other service areas, especially when you look at where's the opportunity, let's just...
one thing I wanted to add while you pull that up is it's super important that I'm going to talk about two things, but the first thing is there's a big difference between Eli ampersand Cooling LLC and Eli Heating A&D Cooling. So be consistent with your name. You don't need to add the LLC. You don't need to put the ampersand.
And is that
and you have to be careful too, because a lot of times citations and directories don't even allow ampersands. They'll actually just put the and in there. If you look at their Facebook page, it says Eli Heating A&D Cooling. So
so I'm sure they likely service this greater market, right? But if you go in and you search here, they're nowhere to be found. These other competitors are doing well. If one of these guys opened an office in Waynesburg, Eli could be in trouble. And a more proper way to really try to promote your service area is to have the dedicated city, right? This doesn't really help you a lot by saying, hey, we do all of this, right? We service all of these cities. I can't click, I can't go anywhere. There's no personal connection to that city, to that market, to the services. There's no other extra links within the footer area. So it's just being smart that a basic website in a small town, it works, but just be careful that if you want to grow and expand, you might have some troubles. You might have to have something a little bit more powerful in order to compete with these big boys.
Love it. Great tips. Let's go ahead and so let's go and bring you back on here as we are at time. We've actually did a lot of covering today. Hopefully, you guys, it was very informative. Again, do not change things just right now because whatever it's an update, a bug. Yeah,
I would probably wait till like Monday. Probably do it like around Monday. Let's get through the week first.
All right, guys, have an awesome week, and we'll see you guys next week. See ya. Peace out.
Hey, GBP roast, GBP roast. Sorry, you in danger. Right now, I gotta flame you. This is GBP roast, GBP roast. On your Google business profile, it's about to go down. We roasting and reacting. We ain't come to play. 20 years in SEO, JP, Lambo, and Dre, bringing facts and guests. Oh yeah, we bring the dopeness. Welcome to the show. Hope your profile don't get roasted.
I swear you might burn yourself one time.